Hello everybody, it's AllStarDoomsday, as you might know. Before I actually start the purpose of this video, I'll get to the glasses. These are prescription eyeglasses. I need them so that I can drive, so I can see far distances. So, you know, it's not bad. These are pretty comfortable. You know, these are cheap frames, so yeah, just to let you know about the glasses. Now with the actual video. This is something I notice a lot of people hate, is when parents will let kids do things like play Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty and this shit, and the kids really get hyperactive about it. And it makes me think, you know, what's the bad part about it, you know, how it kind of breaks down together and all this. And you know, I've just been thinking about it, and I've really been putting my thoughts together on, you know, what I would do, you know, if I had a kid in this day and age. And I do believe I know what I would do. I would any from the age of 7 down, I probably wouldn't let a kid play a Call of Duty or anything like that, any shooters. Maybe more like Dragon Ball games, because, you know, those are cartoons. You know, Dragon Ball, Superman, Shadow of Apocalypse. You know, games like that, you know, obviously cartoony games, nothing that should be real. And when my kid would turn 8, I would be very honest. I'd send him down and tell him, you know, you're gonna get to play new games, but I need you to understand, you know, that this is not real. None of this can happen. None of this should happen. None of this will happen. You know, there's a fine line between reality and fiction. You know, just to get that idea in the kid's head. You know, just so that when they do play games, you know, they know the difference between it being fiction and reality, and, you know, really, you know, inset that idea into their mind. And for movies, you know, it would be a bit different. For movies, I could actually see myself taking an 8-year-old to an R-rated movie, because, you know, it's not that big a deal. You know, I went to R-rated movies when I was a kid. I mean, back in 2004, I was about 12, or going to turn 12, and I saw The Punisher, and I liked it, you know, but I was able to distill in my mind where the reality and the fiction of it ends, and, you know, what I should and shouldn't take away from it. And I thought about a movie like Kick-Ass, where, you know, a lot of people got pissed because they took their kids to see it and it was violent and bloody. And, you know, I have a couple things to say about that. First of all, gore is just a fucking stupid, retarded concept, because it's just giving people some kind of odd, weird high. You know, it's not really grossing anybody out. You know, it's just, you know, giving these people some kind of weird satisfaction seeing this shit happen, which means a lot of people should see Kick-Ass. You know, I think that's a good thing for a kid to see, because it's got a good message behind it. You got this kid who, he's sort of a loser, but, you know, he really improves the situation through sheer will and desire, and he doesn't break away from what he likes, you know. And it really says that you can really do anything as long as you're willing to try hard enough to do it and do what you can to get there. And it's a good message to give an 8-year-old to know, because, you know, an 8-year-old is an 8-year-old, you know, he needs a lot of confidence, especially when he does things like go to school and whatnot. And I think that doing something like that is really good. You know, a movie like that is good for an 8-year-old to see, you know, especially if you can sit him down and talk to him and tell him, this is real, this is not. These are words you can say, these are words you can't say. To really get the idea in their mind that, you know, these people can do it because they're old enough or they're mature enough to handle it, you know, and they're mature enough to understand it, and that it took them a while, you know, to earn that. among the community, and just really give them the idea that, you know, you have to earn it with a level of maturity, and you have to show your maturity, you know, and not be strict on, you know, trying to get them to end their childhood, but more like get them to understand their childhood with a more mature fashion, but still let them enjoy it. And, you know, I would take a kid to see Kick-Ass because of the message that you can really do anything as long as, you know, you're willing to try hard enough to do it. You know, I think a kid would well receive that message, you know, especially with the characters in it. And, you know, the Big Daddy hit girl situation, that would be a good explanation for, that would be a good way of a kid seeing how much his or her dad would actually love them, or his or her parents would actually love them, would be like that, you know. And a parent could explain to the child that, yes, you know, we do love you to that level. If we were in that situation, we would do the same thing, you know, to really get that into their idea. And I think that people who talk against that aren't really pissed at the parents. I think they're more pissed that, you know, the idea that a kid would see that. But I think it's alright, you know, as long as you can get them to understand that it's not reality, you know, that it's very different from the real world, in that, you know, it's all fun and games there, but, you know, the real world's very different, and it changes, you know, a lot of things about you. And I think that as long as you can get the message to the kid that it's fiction, and that, you know, this shit isn't things you should be doing, while taking away a positive message from it, then I think that, you know, kids should be able to see this stuff. And I think that would be very positive to see them take away from it. And, you know, it's a handful of things, you know, I have to say about this subject, but, you know, it's very true. You know, you can say something like comics aren't meant for kids, because they're not. But you can still have a kid read a comic book, and the reason why is because it has the messages behind it that inspire confidence, you know, and really inspire greatness in a child, and really get them to know what they want to do with their life, and pushes them forward. And I think that's something that, you know, society needs, especially with children as they are now, because, you know, these children are going to be, you know, paving the road for our future, or we're going to be paving the road for our children's future, and we need to give them, you know, some ground material to really base a maturity off of, and really find a way to take some messages from, you know, comic books and stuff like that, you know, that's well written, and really let them build their lives from the ground up from that, so that they can actually, you know, grasp their own opinions around it. And I think the sooner we would start something like that, it would be the better. And, you know, I don't want to say make comic books for kids. I'm saying make them for adults, just let kids read them, because, you know, kids are getting more mature, you know, every generation. You know, they're getting smarter, more mature. You know, it's very interesting to see, you know, how much they've evolved mentally. You know, when I was in first grade, I wouldn't have known how to fucking text somebody. Now you see kindergartners, you know, texting their parents during school. And it's amazing to see, because they're so tech smart, you know. And if you really give them something to read that kind of grounds, you know, good, deep morals into them, then I think that would be good, because I think they could really take away from it and really, you know, understand the material in ways that, you know, when we were kindergartners, that we wouldn't have understood. And I think that we should show, you know, today's children with a little bit more respect and a little bit more confidence, that they can understand, you know, themes in movies like Kick-Ass and themes in movies like The Dark Knight, and really, you know, be able to enjoy, but not take too far, you know, things like Call of Duty or Batman Arkham Asylum, and really let them get to know the maturity of the situation, and really get their own ideas based on that. And I think that would be a very nice thing to do for the future.